Hey, welcome to How to Build Your Own Home. This is Keith. I'm talking about grade, shooting grade, getting your elevation just right for your pad. I just want to give a couple of principles so that you know what to look for. This here's a laser level. You can get them at just about any box store, a lot of different supply houses that are out there. I've got my laser set at the center of the street right here, and my permitting office is asking me for finished grade to be 6 inches over the top of this crest of this street. Finished grade or finished elevation means finished, means concrete. So I've got a basement here with a garage. That garage has to be 6 inches above this. Now, it could be 12 inches. I'm waiting for my inspector to give me a call or give me a text. Last week, they were mentioning that it could be just 6 inches, but I think they're going to probably push it to 12 inches. In either case, I've got to be 6 inches or 12 inches above the crest of this drive here. Mainly for water flow, mainly because if there's water coming from the mountain, it's got to be able to work around the building. It can't puddle up against the building. So I've got the laser going here, and you can see, if you can hear that buzzing sound, there you go, you can hear it. Right there is perfectly level. So the laser right here is 2 feet and 4.5 inches high, meaning the laser is actually level at that elevation. So when I go into the pad, which I'll show you in just a second, I'm going to cut 2 feet 4 inches, if that makes any sense, and that's going to tell me where my elevation is. So let's go inside the pad and I'll show you. Okay, I'm now inside the pad here, and I'm just measuring for elevation, and I got some beeping right over here where I was perfectly level with the crest of the street. I didn't have to cut an inch or two. But as I move down over this way, I find that I'm having to lift my rod up because I'm low. So I've got more road base coming in. I'm going to actually level this off, compact it. I'm going to test it in various spots throughout the pad. And if I get a solid beep sound, it registers different on different devices. But on this one, I get a beep, beep, beep sound. When I get that, I know that I'm level. Now, your concrete guys are going to love that. They're going to come in here and get forms established, cut in for the footings and all that. And if it's not really as level as it possibly can be, then they've got to level their forms, and they've got to struggle to make that happen. So I like to make sure my pad's level. But more importantly, I do have to be 6 inches off the crest of that street. And so far, that's what I'm shooting for rather than a foot. And if I'm good at it and I time it out just right and space it out right, I'm not going to have to bring in extra fill. So what I'm trying to do is I don't want to pour the footings up high above the level that you see here. I want to pour the footings almost a little bit lower than that because I've got a 36-inch frost depth here. So I've got to go down over here and over here. That's my frost depth. I got my frost depth taken care of over here because it's going to have a lot of backfill against it. But over here, I'm going to have a frost depth. So I got to make sure that that top of that footing isn't going to be too high so that I'm going to have to bring in more fill. I just don't want to do that. I want to get that top of that footing just right. But at the very least, I have to make sure that my finished garage pad is 6 inches over the crest of the street. And so far, I'm dead even right here, which means I just need to go up 6 more inches over here, and the footing is going to take care of that. But again, like I said, I don't want to bring in more fill. So I'm actually going to try to drop that footing so that I can actually get some better fill in here. So I got another truck coming for some road base. I'm going to get this thing leveled off and graded. You guys watch what I do. Okay, we're back here finishing up the forms, getting them ready. We just checked the elevation. We're about an inch short, but we're okay with that because all we needed to be was 6 inches from the crest of the street. When we pour the slab over this whole thing, that'll be a 4-inch slab, so that will give us a 9-inch elevation from the crest of the street. We just checked it again with the laser, and everything's good. But this is what I wanted to show you here, is that this here, if I was going to pour my slab here, then this here would need to be 6 inches above the center line of the street. Right now we're at 8 inches above the center line of the street. Now with the slab being poured over here, we're going to have a concrete foundation wall here. Over there will be a stem wall, but this will be a 10-foot wall, concrete wall right through here. And the concrete for the garage is going to be right over that footing and coming right up against that wall. That's going to be a 4-inch slab. So when I do my final elevation, that's going to put me at 9 inches, gives me 3 inches to spare. And why did I do the 3 inches? Because this garage is going to slope and it's going to drain that way. So by the time I get over here to the garage door from the far back over here, typically you can have 2 to 3 inches of slope to have that garage slope out that way. That could be close to 6 inches or 6.5 or 7 inches from the crest of the street. I didn't want to risk that. I didn't want to have inspectors say, hey, wait a minute, finished floor. Even though the finished floor is higher over here, down here it could be lower. So I wanted to really abide by that inspection, and I lifted it. So that's why I gave myself an additional 3-4 inches on top of this to make sure that I'm not going to have any mistakes. Anyway, that wraps it up with elevations. It's a real tricky thing. We're going to go over some other elevations here. We're going to do a step footing over here. When we get the forms in here for the walls, I'm going to go over that whole process and how to deal with changing elevations. Sometimes your land just doesn't sit right, and you imagine it one way. When you cut into the dirt and you start to backfill and all that, everything kind of changes. So we're going to do another video on that step, and I'm going to step the foundation here, 10-foot wall. Beyond that, it's a stem wall, but it's a high stem wall. So we may end up dropping the stem wall up top and then adjusting my floor trusses for that step. Now here's something interesting. We're going to do another video. You could adjust floor trusses to accommodate for changing in elevations. That gets to be a little trickier, but we're going to go over that in another video. This is Elevations at How to Build Your Own Home.